All right, so here are the cards we're making. Well, we're making this. This is the basic card. It is done with embossing paste, which is what I have here, and the stencil. And then I've just made it several times as I'm practicing. This particular one I cut such that there's no place for the sentiment at the bottom, but so what I did here, let me see if I can get it closer, is I just drew a silhouette on a little tiny piece of paper, a little tiny sailboat. I just hand drew it, cut it out and pasted it there because I thought the lake needed something. Notice that these trees are down lower than these trees. So I should have put them on this one. I should have made them up further so they're overlapping the mountains just a little bit. This just looked like it needed something there because it's so big. So I'm just showing that to you so you have an idea of where we're going to put the stencils when we make the cards. Then when we mix up the embossing paste, you're going to have some left over. So that's why I said we can do a bonus card. So that's the bonus card. You can use any kind of stencil that you have. You don't have to use this one for a background of the bonus card. So that's strictly up to you. And, oh, and in between while we're drawing the layers, you're going to want a piece of plastic to put over your embossing paste that you've got on your craft mat, so that it doesn't dry out in between time. Because what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to do the the light ones, let it dry, and that's why you want your heat gun. Then we'll do the dark ones and we'll dry that, and then we'll clean everything off, which is why I said have a pan of water. So that's what I have here. I have this pan of water so that I can dry my stencils. You don't want to let the embossing paste dry on the stencils because it's really hard to clean. And then you can put whatever kind of greeting or sentiment at the bottom. Okay, so let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece. This is just 8.5, 4.25 by 5.5. And we're going to make the sky. Okay, so we're going to start with that. So I use the icy water. If you don't have that, whatever light blue that you want, that's, you think it's going to be sky color, that is fine. And then we're going to blend it down, part of the way. So like there. And I'm just opening up this so I can have my instructions here. And what I think would be a good idea is to take and draw a line where you would like the mountains and the water to meet. Just a very light line as with a pencil as a guide. And I'm just going to take the edge of another card and use that as my guide. And there, now it's very light, which is good. Now I'm going to take my icy, what is it, icy water. And we want to make it darker at the top and lighter at the bottom of the sky. And because we're going to use the same color for the lake, it doesn't matter if you go down too far because it's going to be either part of the lake or it's going to be covered up with the trees. So I'm just going to take this and work my way down. And I think probably I might have been better off if I had used a blending sponge. I'm just wondering if that would make it, I don't know that it really is making a difference. And it could very well be that I need to re-ink this, and my re-inker's right here on my desk, but. And I don't think it needs to be particularly even and straight, because if you look at the sky at any time, sometimes there's clouds in there, and sometimes, it's, lighter in spots and darker in spots. So that's what I've done there. And it doesn't show up very well, but it shows up enough for me here. And I want to make sure it's darker at the top and lighter as we go down. Now I gotta. There.
Lori, Tracy wants to know, is that the lightest color of the set?
No, it's not. The lightest color, I can find that, I think is Polar. Oh, here, I'm gonna do it this way. This is Northern Shores. I swatched them all. Yeah, Polar Bear is the lightest, and you can barely see it. So it's the second. And if you want it darker, go to the next darker one. Just be careful that it doesn't get too dark. All right, so that is that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask off the sky, and then I'm going to blend down this way. And I probably don't even need to mask off the sky, but so I'm just taking a piece of, this is low tack tape by Scotch. And then you want to do the same thing where it is. So I put this right along where my mountains are going to be, and I want it darker at the top of this. And that's the way I did it. You do it however, if you rather have it darker at the bottom. And again, you don't have to go all the way down because the trees are going to be in the way. And actually, I think I want this one showing, because the trees are going to be up farther. And you don't need to go all the way down either, because the trees will be there. And I see on this one, I got some other splotches up here, and I rather like that. I might, put a little splotching up there so it's darker, give it a little more texture. But that's just, that's just me. Remember, this is your card, so you do it the way you want to. And then I can remove that, and we can see where the lake is going to be. Now, on the mountain scene, I have labeled mine dark side and light side. It doesn't matter which is which. This could be the light side and the dark side. It doesn't matter. I just labeled it so I would remember which side I'm using. And as you can see, I want the dark side on the right side and the light on the left side. Certainly doesn't matter if you'd rather have this be the light side and this be the dark side. Makes no difference. You just need to make sure that you're using one for one and one for the other, so you can get the dimension there. And we're going to do the light side first, because when we mix up the blending, the embossing paste, we're going to put a little bit of color on it for the light. And then we're going to, after we have this part done and dried, we're going to put more to the the darker color, which would be Winter Lake, and just add it to what we have there already. That makes sense. And we can't remove color, but we certainly can add more. So this is the embossing paste I'm using. There's many different companies that make it, but seeing so Altenw is sort of sponsoring this, I'm using Altenw, and I've used quite a bit of it. And I've got my my palette knife here. So what I'm going to do is let me just double check. Oh, let's do this first. I'm going to place this down first before we start mixing this up. So I'm going to look, I want the light side, and I'm going to look at this if you want. So notice how far over I'm going, plus the fact that I've cut this down some. So if I line this up like that, that's how far that's over, okay? And then knowing that that's where the light ends, when we flip it over, we can see that the dark is going to, oops, not that. And the dark is going to come over farther. Okay. So I'm lining the bottom of this up with this line here. And I'm going to get out my handy dandy Brutus Monroe stick and stamp mat. I don't know if any of you use this, but I do like it. It was a little difficult to figure out how to use it first, but it's pretty good. I'm going to move this over here like this, lining up the bottom here with that. And then I can do this, and now it stays. And then I have this thing that I put over the top. Oh, it's got to go this way. And that helps to not get the embossing paper onto the sticky part here, because that covers it up. Okay. And I don't want to get this part. I don't want to get embossing paste over here, so I'm covering that up. And I'm going to pause here a second so you guys can get your stencil all lined up. And does anybody have any questions? So we're all good with that. I'm going to take, now I want enough paste so that I can do the whole mountain, both sides. But I don't want so much that I have too much left over. So I'm going to put, yeah, I think that's too much. Maybe that much. And I use this piece of plastic over the top of this just as an extra precautionary to make sure that this does not dry out. Now I'm going to take my icy water, which is the lightest one that we're using, and I'm going to put just a tiny little drop because it'll get dark very quickly. And when we blend this up, we don't want it to be solid color. Notice the variations here in the color of the light. So I'm going to just put just a little tiny dot on it. And then, because I can always add more, and then start blending.
Lori, Carolyn wants to know, here's her exact question. The frame piece that you were using, did you make it yourself or purchase it?
I got it, I got it online at Amazon, is what I did. So this is Brutus Monroe. I bought that, this piece here at Brutus Monroe. Then I bought online with Amazon some knockoffs. So it's the same size, but there were two of these and it came with this. I don't know if Brutus Monroe sells this piece or not. So I just found it on Amazon. All right, I need a little more blue, so I'm going to be very careful because I don't want to get too much. I'm thinking I'm being very careful because the one time when I did this, it was way too blue. So I'm going slowly. All right. So that looks pretty good. And remember, I don't want to blend it so it's solid. I want the variations. Now I'm going to take this and I'm still going to have to hold everything in place. I don't trust it that well. And I want to be careful that I don't get it down here in the trees. And I'm just going to start blending this on here. And I still need some more blue, I think.
Lori, lots of people are posting in the chat where they got theirs from, so.
Oh, good. Notice that and this is not sticking down well. Notice that I'm kind of pouncing up and down because I want to give I'm imagining that's all snow. So I want, it to be textured. And I still think I need some more blue. There we go. What I'm going to do, I'm going to scrape off any extras and then pounce. Probably could have used some more blue. Even though snow is not blue. I'm going to remove all this now. And I did overlap a little bit there, but not a big deal. And I'm just wiping this away that I got messy. This little piece is part of it. So notice that it's quite textured. Now I need to take this and put it in my water immediately. And I'm going to mix this up some. And now I'm going to go over, because I want the dark side, I'm going to go over and get the Winter Lake. And I'm going to add that, because this is going to be the dark one now. And that's plenty dark. I don't want to mix it up too much. But just trying to get this all kind of contained. At this point, I'm going to take my piece of plastic. I'm taking my palette knife and putting it in my water so that it doesn't dry on that. Take my piece of plastic and cover this up, because I don't want it to dry out. And I'm going to wash. Now I'm going to wash. Well, I'll just put that in the water too. Now we need to heat set this so that it gets dry. Otherwise we'd have to wait and finish the class tomorrow. Nobody wants to do that. Oops. Yeah. Oh, almost blew it up there. I don't know if you noticed. I got too much heat there and it started to bubble.
It's kind of half and half, Lori.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit more like that. And now that that's hot, I'm gonna go over and wash my stencils off so I can do the second part. Which is why I suggested having a washcloth and a dry cloth. One to wash these and one to dry. I think probably when I put this up on YouTube, my drying time, I might just cut that part out. Because if you're watching it, you can always pause it while you dry.
Tracy says she'd leave the part in the video about how you over drying can cause bubbles because that, that's helpful for everybody to know.
That's a good point. Yes. I may do just that. And I hadn't had that. I know that happens because in other projects in the past, I've done that by mistake. But when I've made these cards today, I didn't have that problem. So it must be I was trying to speed it up for you guys more than I did when I was practicing. All right. Hopefully you're all set to move on to the next part. Put in the chat if you really need some more time for it to dry, and I can wait. Yeah, mine is pretty dry.
Nobody has said anything so
Okay,
far.
then I'm going to go on. All right, so now the tricky part is, so this little thing here was this little thing here. It's the light part right there. So now we have to, let's get this set up again. I'll turn it this way this time. And then, so we need to make sure that we're lining things up. So this jagged edge here is going to line up with this jagged edge there. This little arrowy thing is going to line up in there. So we want to make sure that that gets all lined up. this edge here is going to line up with this edge there. And then, of course, the bottom here is going to line up with the bottom, you know, there. I think what I'm going to do is I don't want to get anything up here because I'm going to mask off the top here. Oops. Or at least tape it down. So this, I said, this is Scotch, low-tack Scotch tape from Scotch that Sandy suggested using, and I do happen to like it a lot.
It really works well. It's actually their, I think the official name is removable, Scotch removable tape. It looks like it's in the same package as their gift wrap tape, the plaid box, but it's a blue plaid box. And it's a lot less expensive than using the
Yes.
regular purple tape or whatever also.
All right, I think I'm ready. And this, I don't believe, is as dark as, well, maybe it is that, but here we go. Just smooth that on. I got way too much here, which is why there's a bonus card. And I've mixed that too much and I'm not getting a whole lot of variation. So I'm just going to put another drop in there. And I'm only doing that because that's the way I like it. If you want it to be smooth and not as textured, that's perfectly fine. There is no right or wrong. And I certainly don't give out grades. So you do it the way you want. Right, Sandy?
Exactly. Anybody who's in my Facebook group knows that I'm constantly trying to tell people, just be
Yep.
you and create, and don't try to, it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be exactly like somebody else's.
Right.
Tracy wants to say, she says no grades, but do you give out stickers?
Sure. I'll have to get those digital stickers from you, Sandy.
That's right. I know I can tell you how to make digital stickers. Laura, you and I have been teachers for so many years. How many years were you teaching?
I taught in the in school classroom. I taught for 30 years, and then when I quit teaching, moved to a different state, I started working for Apple. I worked for Apple at their retail stores, teaching customers how to use their Apple devices, and I did that for 11 years.
Yeah, and I got my original teaching credential. This is going to really blow you away, in 1972. And so, and I've been teaching ever since. Everything and anything from elementary school to college to I even did 3 years teaching ballroom dancing, so hey,
Yeah, once a teacher, always a teacher, right?
that's exactly right.
I'm just trying to. Brutus Monroe does sell a cleaner for the mat, which helps because you get fuzz on it or that kind of stuff. And you just spray it. And then what I do is kind of like that. And I don't want to put, anything on it. And that way I can kind of rub off any lint. But all right, now we've got leftover mess here. So you can take a stencil. And where are there it is. And another piece of cardstock. This is what I used for this card. But I think I'm going to use something different for the next card. I happen to like this stencil a lot. Oh, and that's in there. And I'm not going to bother with that. And I'm just going to put what's left over here in the center rather than going all the way out to the edges. But that's just what I do, which is kind of what I did here. I didn't go all the way out to the edges. This stencil is Lavinia stamps. It's from Lavinia stamps. They're out of Scotland, I think, somewhere in the UK. And I just think that's so pretty. And I have even enough left over that I think I can do one more card. Oh, shoot. Didn't need to do that. I put that, the stencil that I just used into the water, and I was going to use it again. So now I have to wipe it off, which is fine. I don't want to get water all over my paper. So. And as I said in my email, this is a messy project. Unfortunately, I happen to have an abundance of old washcloths, which is great for this. All right. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. That down. Whatever I have left over here, which is not a lot, but it does give some texture to the paper. And I don't like to waste anything.
Lori, Tracy's asking, she said it's been a long time since she's used embossing paste. Do you smooth it over the stencil in one direction or in all different ways?
I do it in all different ways. I just try to get it so it goes in those little holes. So I'm going back and forth every which way. And then kind of pushing down. Oh, I could give some texture to this one too. I think I will. And there it is. Now everything goes in the water. Take this off. As I say, it can be sticky. Come on, come on. Put it in this way. There we go. All right. And then be sure that you set this down away from you. I have a habit of setting it down and then setting something else right on top of it. So don't do that. Now I'm going to clean my mat off here. And we have to dry our mountains. Whoops, I did it again. They set it right down on something. And I got some of my texture off there and got some of the, as I just said, I set it down and then I set something on top of it. Oh, well. And this is starting to dry, so I don't want that. I have a little water, a little spray water bottle here, or just take some water out of your hand. And I think I'm going to leave the room and take my pan of water with my stencils in it to the bathroom and get some clean water, because we have to do the trees next. And if your pan is looking like my pan, you're probably going to want to do the same. And I'm going to need to cut myself another piece of plastic because I don't want the blue getting into the trees. Okay. Yeah, this is what my pan looks like. So I need to get some clean water and I'll be right back.
Does anybody have any other questions? I'm here if you have them, or if you have comments too. Everybody can see the chat, so you can see each other's comments.
As I said, it is a messy project. Let me dry these off. And if you are ready, you can go ahead and start using the heat gun on your mountains and dry those dark mountains. Just don't hold the heat gun too close and for too long, or it'll start bubbling up.
Lori, Stephanie wants everybody to know that she thinks this is a great class.
Why, thank you. It's a messy class, but I think they make very unique cards. As an Altenw educator, I try to take their product and do something different than what somebody else would do with it. You know, Altenw is very good about giving samples of in their stamp, of what you can do with it. But I try to be, sometimes I succeed, sometimes not so much, and I'm always looking at what other people are making. Okay, so my stencils are clean. And now I need to start drying. Unfortunately, when you have a project like this, there's a lot of the class is just boring. If you're just watching me dry paint. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. I bubbled this one up a little bit. You can see the texture in there, like there's a bubble right, wait a minute, right there. Didn't hurt it any. And because I made this quite smooth, it doesn't take nearly as long to dry as something that has as much depth as this does. But it's the depth that makes it look like mountains. All right, I think mine is dry enough to go on. So I'm going to put this down here, and I'm going to get my stencil out again. And incidentally, these stencils work just as well this way. It's just that the mountains would be the other way around. Or if you want your trees taller on this side, just turn it this way. See? So with this one, I want to make, let's see, where's the one I like the best? I like it best when the tree comes up over the mountain so that the lake isn't so big. I think it makes a better card. So I'm going to have the tall trees on the right side. So I'm going to down. I'm going to find this. It's going to be my tall tree, and I'm going to have it come up kind of like this. And I can see how big here, how my lake is going to be. Maybe that's too high. I'll come down a little bit more. And I can come over this way, maybe. So now we're not going to do anything up there. So it's just the trees down here. And I think I do want to come up a little bit more. But again, it's yours. If you want the lake bigger, come down further. And then where is where did that go? There it is. Now with the trees, it's only the one color. We don't have to do two different ones. Although I put a lot of different colors in the trees. And with this, you're going to have to hold this down. You can't tape it down because you need to put the stuff there. And so we're going to start with our paste again. And notice that at least for this one, I've cut quite a bit off from the bottom so I could put my sentiment down there. So you don't need to come all the way down. So I'm going to get my paste out again. And I'm hoping that's going to be enough. And for the trees, I used 3 colors. I used green opal, green onyx, and evergreen. You could use just one of those colors. You could use a combination. That's what I did for this to get the different variations in color. I think for tonight, I'm going to just use the green opal and the evergreen and not put the green onyx in. Actually, I want to look at the colors again, make sure I've got what I want. Green opal. No, I'm going to use the green onyx, which is this one. Let me think. Nope, I'm going to use the green opal because the evergreen is going to be greener. This has a more yellow, and I think those two would make a nice combination of colors. So I've got the evergreen and the green opal. But if you want it, let me show you the evergreen here. Now, where is evergreen? Oh, this is the evergreen. So you have the evergreen, the green onyx, and the green opal. The evergreen is a nice true green. The green onyx looks like it's got some black added to it, and the green opal has the yellow added to it. And I'm going to use these two.
Lori, Veronica says she loves your palette.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to start with just a small drop of the green opal. What I want? Yep. And I'm going to start mixing that. Actually, I think that's a lovely color for trees. Again, I'm not trying to mix it perfectly together. I want it to have some variation. Although these all look like pine trees or evergreen trees, trees are not all the same color. And then I'll put some of the evergreen in there. Yeah, I got too much. And you can see that's got more blue in it. And now I'll just start adding. Remember, you've got to hold this down. And I'm coming down because I don't want to go up. It's going to lift up the stencil. In my first pass, I'm just trying to get the color down there. I'll go back and add the texture. In this case, because the branches go this way on a tree, I'm only going back and forth like this to try to give to make it kind of look like branches. How's that look? I ask questions, half expecting to hear an answer. There we go. Put it in the water. Just trying to make the bottom straight so that when I cut off the bottom, I don't, have any of the white papers showing through. Oops. Now I've got a little bit of this left over, so I could, because I have paper here, which now has blue on it. It's just messy me. Do another background. Why waste it if it's there, right? It would be perfect if I could judge exactly how much paste I needed, but that doesn't happen. And if I make it nice and smooth like this, it doesn't take nearly as long to dry.
Or you were right at halfway.
All right, well, good. And we are just about done anyway. And I still have a bunch of this here. Put it all in the water. Don't let anything get hardened on it. And this will go right in the washing machine. All right, and then we need to dry the trees. Ah, you can see what if I had added what was that one I didn't add? The green onyx. Look at the difference in colors. And now I wish I had. But this is a pretty card too. Put my lids on here so I don't get re-inkers everywhere. And look at this baby. I think that's dry enough. So what you want, look at me. Maybe I should wash my hands. So what you want to do next is get your card base. And I'm going to need to score mine. And if you're going to do something like this one, then you want to take a piece of your blue cardstock and leave, let me measure and tell you exactly how much. Three-quarters of an inch at the bottom. So I'm going to cut this, if this was 4 1/4, I'm going to cut it so there's 3/4 of an inch left here. Move my background pieces around here. And then of course it's 5 1/2 this way. Yeah, so it's 3 inches. I think that's what it was. Nope, 3 1/2. So 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. And then we need to cut this down so that we have about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So I'm going to cut probably 1/4 of an inch from either side. And I think I'm going to cut just a little bit off the top. Just a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And then the bottom. I'm going to cut more off the top. And it doesn't have to be exact. You can eyeball it. And then that can go there. Like that. And then you can stamp. I got this from the sentiment strips. Sending you sweet birthday wishes. But any kind of strip that you have would be fine. Like that. So I am going to glue this to my base, stamp this, and put this on last. And I'm gonna put this. Incidentally, I took one of those cheapy ones I got from Amazon, cut it down so it fit in my mister. But it being a cheapy one, it doesn't not as sticky. Oh, that's not what I want. I'm going to go visit family at the end of the month. My grandniece is graduating from high school. And I've got several family members that said, can you bring me some birthday cards? Can you bring me some sympathy cards? Can you bring? So I've got a lot of birthday cards to make. It's great. One thing I like about the Misties is that you can line it up, the grid lines. This being a very long sentiment strip, it's hard to keep straight. And now I don't think it's centered. Not the way. I'm using the pigment obsidian, which is one of my very favorite black inks. And now I can glue this one on. I like to use a acrylic block to hold things down while it's drying. As you can see, it's quite dirty. Got a lot of little pieces of glue on it. All right, so that's the end of that card. Now, if we want to do the bonus card, what I did for this one, I used the same color palette, but I used the ink and blended around with the it was probably the not the evergreen, it was probably the green opal, because it has kind of a yellowish tinge to it. And then I just blended that around, and then I used the big mighty alphabet set and cut out happy B-Day because birthday didn't fit on there. Or you could put a any kind of sentiment strip across, or any kind of word die cuts. You know, I've got several different word die cuts that you could put there. Okay, how's that look? I don't think I got my lake blue enough. But if you didn't see the first one, if you were the recipient of the card, you wouldn't know. Questions? And would you like?
People love the card, Lori. They think it's so pretty and stunning, looking great. A lot of comments.
Oh, thank you. Does anybody want me to go through and actually make this card with them? Or are you happy just knowing how I did it? It being the bonus card. And I'm happy to go through and cut out the happy birthday and everything. What I did with this, because this is the Northern Shore ink, not the re-inkers, but the actual ink. I cut them out, then I left the letters in the negative space, if you will, while I took the ink pad and then rubbed over it. So if I cut it out, you know, then you'd have the negative space and then the letter. I just left the letter in there, so I didn't have to hold it quite as hard, if you will. And if you put it on the sticky mat, then these stay put, as you just rub that over that. And then you can just pick them up one at a time and glue them down. I see this one, I pushed it down several times. I need to re-glue that one. All that. Sandy, did anybody say they wanted me to go through and make the this card?
Nobody has said anything.
Okay, all right. And I say this is from Lavinia Stamps. I just think it's a beautiful swirl. And I could do something very similar to these. This one isn't dry yet. I could even put an Altenw cutout flower on something like this. But that's not masculine, and this was the masculine class, wasn't it? That's why.
There are requests for you to show how you did the letters on the Happy Bee card.
Sure. So I can do that. As I would go ahead and make it anyway. It doesn't really fit in here, but I make it fit. So I'm going to take regular cardstock that I've been using, not the base weight. And I'm going to take, let's see, H, A, P, and Y. And I'm going to put them out.
Tracy would like to know, did you use your ink blending brush right over the embossing paste?
Yes, yes. You mean for the outline here? Yes. Just right over the, mm-hmm. Let's step over to my embossing machine. All right. So I'm going to leave the letters in there, and then I'll take my find it. No, I could only find it. Give me a minute. What color did I use anyway? I did use the blue. I can't find my ink. And I have a bad habit of, here it is, moving things and not remembering where I put them. Okay, so I'm going to use I think I used the darkest one. I don't know. Let's try Winter Lake. So I'm going to take and just go over the top like this with it. And there's the letters. And it's pretty easy to do. So I need another P. And then you get them nice and dark like that. Does that make sense? I would need to go ahead and do another P. But before I do that, as long as I'm showing it, I might as well get out the greens.
Lori, Veronica wants to know if before we go, can you hold up your mountain/tree stencil card and move it in different angles so we can see the texture in more detail?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, let me just show you the other ones I did so you can see the difference in how they looked. Yeah, when I see this, I think that green is just fine. Then I show this one, I think, oh, I like that green better. But yeah. And there's this one. And then the one with a little. See, I got much more variation down here. Good or bad, that's the, I don't know, it depends on what you like. Is that what they needed? Yes?
Yes, thanks so much.
Sure. All right, I'm gonna try the,
Everybody loves it.
well, I hope they love theirs. And then I just take, oh, I don't think that was the same color. Or maybe I used a combination. Let's do the color I used. It's got more blue in it. I need another P. And then I would do the same thing with the B-Day. I've got things that I can't prepare. If you could only see the rest of my desk, it is a disaster. But that's the way I that's the way I create. I tease and say I come in here to clean my room and then a card happens. I'll see a little thing. Oh, I can make a card out of that. Or I'll find some old piece of something. I can make a card out of that. Let's see. B-Day. D. The A is already out. The Y is already out. I need another P. And I need a dash. And I think what I just did is I just colored a piece and cut it. There's no dash with the set. So I'm going to go cut these. Maybe I'll cut them. Now I can't find my cutting plate. Sandy, next time you co-host, you'll have to actually be here so you can keep me in line and find my things that I keep losing. I can't
I
find my
think
cutting
it's a little far between you and me. I think.
coast to coast. I'm in Massachusetts and she's in Alaska.
Well, that would be for me about let's see. It's 3.5, 4 hours to Seattle, and then probably what, 5 hours from Seattle. So
Oh no, more like 6.
yeah, well, there you go. It's probably 9 or 10 hours from me to get to your house. I wish I could.
Just pop over. Oh, there it is. I found it. Just hop over, you know. Don't we wish we lived in Star Trek age where we could beam over, right? Just
That
beaming.
would be very nice.
I'd see more of the world that way. All right, let me cut out the rest of the birthday, and I'll be right back over on that side. Leave them right in there. It does use a lot of ink this way, but guess what? We all got the re-inkers now, right? Well, I do anyway. And all of I only have this size, except for a couple that didn't come in a pack and I needed to get an individual one. And you can't buy these little ones individually. Not that I wouldn't like the bigger one, but where would I store those? I have these all in little trays like this. It's great. With the names on the side, so I know. Oops. All right, let's put this over here so I can find it next time. And happy B-Day. And I think you kind of have to get it, for me anyway, you kind of have to get it lined up so you know, well, HAPPY, that's got to be in the center. So that's helpful. All right, I just cut out that P. Where'd it go? There it is. Oh, I'm not on the screen. At this point, I don't know if I used the wrong color or this just hasn't dried yet. Because that does look darker. Happy B-Day. Oops. Well, you know what? The color combination, that still could be a masculine card. Right? Just because of the color combination. And then I would just take because I can't waste anything, and that's already there. Oops. And with any luck, I can cut it straight. And I think we're done. Then unless anybody has questions. I often trim my card so that I can have a border. Ladies, and I don't know if we have any gentlemen tonight.
You
Oh,
know
wait.
what? Why doesn't everybody turn their mics back on again so that you can actually make comments and talk to Lori now that she's done with her demonstration?
I can stop that and then I can see people. All right. Hello. Does anybody want to show what they did? I'd love to see what you did. And do you know, Stephanie, you're talking, but you're muted.
Yeah, no, I was saying they look good. I didn't participate on doing it, so I'm going to do it later.
All right. Tracy, show yours again. And do you know how to spotlight her?
Click on the 3 dots
Okay.
and
And
see if
then
it
pin.
says spotlight.
Oh, spotlight for everyone. There.
Oh, okay. That looks
For
pretty.
it. I didn't have the one. I know I need more variation on the color, I think. But I was wondering how you got your card front on so straight and even. Have anyone figured out a trick for it
My card front onto this.
onto the card base?
Wait a minute. I can let me share my screen again.
Thank
Paused. There we go. You mean straight here
you. It was on the bonus card,
on the bonus card?
the white. You set the card base, the blended piece on top of the white, so evenly. Yes.
Oh, well, basically, when I cut this, I'll cut like an 1/8 of an inch off every side. So that way I know that it's not, it's going to be centered right. And then I just eyeball it. And it's not that straight because, I mean, this is much more narrow than this side.
Okay, I thought it was just the angle.
Yeah.
I need some tool that will get everything straight all the time, you know?
They did make something like that when I was scrapbooking. I don't know if they make them anymore.
Yeah, Tracy, I got something off of Amazon that they're like,
Oh yeah, Amazon has some L rulers that you can use.
yes, and that
How do I hold on? How do I
Please.
remove spotlight?
Thank you.
There we go. All right. You got somebody who was talking something on Amazon? Yes, go ahead.
I did, Yara.
Yeah,
You don't have to spot me, but I do have a card to show.
Well,
But Amazon has like an L ruler that you can use.
and it has different sizes. The one
Yeah,
that
I have
Yeah.
the very old one. Tracy, can you see it?
Yes.
let me spotlight you.
Uh,
Oh
this
yeah,
is
now we
like-
can.
This is like 20 years old.
Yeah.
And it has a different sizes, so you can align it. It goes from 1/8 to 12/8.
Great.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
So it helps you to align if you wanted to, but Amazon has one that is like
like
4 or
5
5 different
pieces.
rulers
Oh,
that
yeah,
it gives you
but
different sizes from 1/8 to I think 3/4.
I
okay.
think you're right, honey. Yes.
But you have to use different rulers depending on the width that
fine.
you want.
Yeah, that's
But check
Yeah.
in Amazon.
great.
And my card is I don't have paste. I don't do messy things. Sorry. So I just use
Sure,
inks.
It
sure.
looks
Like your
good.
bird.
That is lovely.
very nice.
Yeah.
You have the bird.
Like your greens too.
Yes. You have the bird and the
Yeah.
sailboat.
So for my trees to give it a little more texture, I just repeated the tree stencils multiple times.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What a
Okay.
great idea. I like it.
It's very nice.
And I did it the opposite because I don't know. I have a thing that I always use the right side of the stencil to work, and you did it the opposite way. But
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
always
matter.
have my stencils facing me. I didn't pay attention that you were using the other side, but I guess it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't
I'm
matter at all.
trying to use it because I had a Hero Arts that I didn't pay attention, and then the die didn't work.
Uh-oh. Yeah, well,
So-
that does happen.
So now I try to keep them facing that way. If it has a die, it will work always.
Yeah.
Good learning experience.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, that's beautiful.
What a
Awesome.
great job. Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
I like how artsy your trees look on the bottom.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, I like it a lot. And you've got, yours
And it
is
always
darker. I
touch
like, I didn't
Water.
put enough blue on my lake. Yours is much better. Yeah, mine looks almost white. Where is the one I just
and
made?
yours have like a little sand in behind the trees.
Yeah. Yeah, mine is almost white. Yours has a much nicer color.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Oops. Oh, wait a minute, Elaine, let me get you
Yes.
spotlighted.
So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but if you'll notice in the lake,
Mhm.
I took some of the iridescent
Oh, yeah.
spray
It's
and I
sparkling.
sprayed it on the
Oh.
ground, and then I took a paintbrush and just kind of dabbed it where I wanted it to be.
Wow.
Oh,
I didn't
what a
want it to be
great
all over my
idea.
card.
Yeah, no, that's, yes, I can see it. And yes, it's,
Yeah.
your lake is sparkling.
Yes.
Sun is just twinkling
really
off
cool.
that. What a great idea.
Thank you. I'm a little glitter queen. What can I say?
How many of us are a member of her tribe?
Yay! Love it. Love
Oh,
it.
happy
Oh,
Father's
wow.
Day. That's
Oh,
perfect.
Veronica,
Oh, that's
pretty.
gorgeous.
Did wonderful.
Yeah. What a great job you did. Oh, you're
Yeah.
muted. We can't hear you.
Now she's muted.
Can you bring it closer?
No, she's, oh, now she's,
Okay,
And oh,
we can see it, but we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
but she's not muted.
Is your microphone on? When you came in? Nope.
No. That's okay, but that's okay. We can see it and it's beautiful.
It looks beautiful.
but could you bring it?
You get a
please? Could you
sticker.
Bring it closer and up.
She wants to see it closer.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bring it up.
there
you
we go. Perfect.
Oh, that looks nice.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That looks really nice.
What set did you use for Father's Day?
Now she has to show us because we can't
First
hear.
word.
Oh,
Second.
how many,
Oh, okay.
honeybee? Okay.
Nice.
All right. Is that everybody that wants to share? Yeah. Thank you all for coming tonight.